Hi guys. So this is for Unit 7, and this is going to be a short lecture because, as I mentioned last week, we're not doing anything new. Well, we're working on the report, but in the Unit 5 lecture, I explained each of the sections in the report, and so what you're going to be doing for Unit 7 in Part 2 of the formal report, you're going to be working on or completing the front matter and the back matter, or I'm sorry, not the back matter, the front matter and the body. So last week for Part 1, you completed part of the body. You did the introduction, the mode of analysis, and the analysis of data, and then you've also done the works cited page. So this week for Part 2, you're going to be doing the front matter, which is the title page, the letter of authorization, the letter of transmittal, the table of contents, the list of figures, the executive summary, which is more commonly called an abstract, and then you're going to insert the background / introduction, the mode of analysis, and the analysis. That will go in next, and then after that is the conclusion and the recommendations, and then after that is the back matter, which is the references page and appendices. So that's the order that everything goes in. So again, for Part 2, which is Unit 7 assignment, you're going to be completing the title page, the letter of authorization, the letter of transmittal, the table of contents, the list of figures, and the executive summary or abstract, and then the conclusion and recommendations. So for a detailed explanation of what each of these sections consists of, you can either go to chapter 18 in the textbook, or you can watch the Unit 5 lecture, which is posted in announcements. So I'm not going to really go over what is in each section. Well, I'll just briefly remind you some of the details for each section. So the title page comes first, and remember that the title page counts as page 1. However, there is no page number on it. If there was, though, you're using Roman numerals. Let's see. So the title page also has the title of the report, and then it's also going to say prepared by, and that would be you. You're preparing it. So prepared by, and then your name, and then prepared for, and then that's the name of the person or the company that you're preparing the report for, and it has the date submitted. So submitted by, and what you want to do with that date is just announce that you are submitting the report on or before the date that it was promised. It's important to note that the title of the report is going to be in all caps, and let's see, in terms of design, the title page can really be whatever you want it to be. It can be plain, it can have an image, it's really up to you. What determines the design would be your intended audience and also the subject matter. So whether it's plain or it has some type of photo or image or whatever, that's completely up to you. And then after the title page comes the letter of authorization. So you might have a letter of authorization. You don't have to. How can you tell? The letter of authorization would be if the report was commissioned. So basically, if someone asked you or paid for the report to be written, then the letter would be the letter which was or that was asking for the report, and it typically consists of 3 parts. So it has an opening paragraph with background on the reasons for commissioning the report, and then the second paragraph would be a description of the commission itself, plus a date when the report should be submitted, and then lastly, a polite closing. Next comes the letter of transmittal, which is always an informal report. The letter of transmittal also has 3 main points, which are typically formatted as 3 paragraphs. And the first paragraph explains what the report is about and announces that it is ready on or before the date promised. The second paragraph summarizes briefly, but as specifically as possible, the report's recommendations. And then the third paragraph thanks the person or people who commissioned the report. Let's see, next is the table of contents. So you're always going to have a table of contents in a formal report, and the table of contents should have a whole page. Let's say you don't have enough entries to fill an entire page. You still don't want to put anything else on the table of contents page. You just want to list each section of the report. In terms of spacing, can be single spaced or double spaced. That is up to you. Let's see. And that's about it for the table of contents. But again, if you want to see this information, you can go to chapter 18 in the textbook. After the table of contents is the list of figures, and simply if you have, let's say, any graphs, any tables, any charts, any photos, any what's the word I'm looking for? Any visual aids are going to be listed here, and you're just going to list where they appear in the report. And then after the list of figures is the executive summary, but I've encountered it more often. It's referred to as an abstract. The abstract is a summary of the report. It's important that the abstract is as specific as possible. So you want to try to provide the most thorough summary that you can provide without, being too long. And in terms of the length of the abstract, it is said that the abstract should be 1/10 the length of the report. So if your report is 10 pages, then the abstract should be 1 page. So if your report is 20 pages, the abstract should be 2. Something about the abstract, is also okay to actually lift entire sentences from, let's say you have a sentence or even 2 in an introduction which you think are really good, and you can copy them or lift them word for word from your introduction and just put them in the abstract. So that's okay. You can lift entire sentences from other sections in your report and put them in the abstract. And let's see, and then after the abstract, the next thing that goes in is the introduction or background, which you wrote last week, and then it would be the mode of analysis, which you also did last week, and the analysis of data. After that come the conclusions. So the conclusions section is typically a page long or more, and it has a detailed discussion of what you have concluded from your research. It also includes recommendations. Now, there is another section for recommendations. The recommendation section is, it contains the same information as the conclusions, except that it is in listed bulleted format. So you should think of the recommendation section as, and this is how the textbook refers to it, a short, snappy version of your conclusions. So the information in conclusions and recommendations is actually the same. What differs is the way that it appears. So in the conclusion, you're going to write it out in paragraphs and full sentences, but in the recommendations, it's actually in listed in bulleted format. And then after that, you have the back matter, which is the references page and appendices. So appendices is not necessary, but this is where you would put any information that is too detailed to put elsewhere in the report. An example of this, let's say you did a survey. Maybe the questions that you used in the survey, or the actual surveys that you collected from participants. So that's an example of information that would be too detailed and not really appropriate to put elsewhere in the report, but it's still valuable information and you want to get credit for it. You want to show that you did the work, so it's worth including. So any information that you may have that you feel like you want to show the person you prepared the report for, or you want to show your audience, look, I've done this work, it's good to include that in the appendices. So anything you might have that you don't really think fits in elsewhere, but you want your audience to know about it, or to know that it is information that you processed in preparing the report, put it in the appendices. And that's really it. So if you have any questions, please, don't be shy, reach out to me. Some of you already have. Continue, you're doing a great job. So I enjoyed reading your reflections on, the Unit 5 reflections, and most of the references pages that you did were beautiful. So great work there. And I'm going to stop talking now, but I look forward to reading your reports, and just keep up the great work. Bye.